so I wonder why. I feel pain when the rain fall from the sky. That's all my partner tears making heaven cry. Sent you a message when the pigeons fly. Goodbye, listen to the Reverend, reach about a legend 24/7. I'm missing you in my presence, you will never die. I wipe my eye while the quiet sing a lullaby. So some respect we apply in a suit and tie. This was a lie, I can't deny. Sin is believing, I had to accept you no longer breathing. I bury you decent when I carry you reminiscing. Relive every memory is a reason. Different partner joining Jesus every season. Leaving me grieving in morning. Call home either evening, night, evening, or morning. And be gone with no warning. We born to feel leaving. This world is a blessing, no less than a curse. The pain never lasts, and I'm strong, but it hurt. Won't be the last time I visit my homie in the church. Touch a casket. Remember you laughing, dark glasses when I witness your hearse. Witness your bundle of flowers around a hole in the dirt. Witness your picture on the shirt, and I'm asking to witness many more days on this earth. What could be worse? I'll be the first in this fashion. Tell you with passion. How bad did it hurt? How bad did it hurt? How bad did it hurt to just breathe, breathe, breathe for all of my partners, for all of my partners. No, I haven't forgot you. No, I haven't forgot you. Breathe, breathe, breathe for all of my partners.
All right, what's up, everybody? Ricochet, man, coming back at you. Hoping everybody having a blessed, wonderful, prosperous day. Welcome to my channel, man, and I thank everybody for watching and tuning in, man. Follow me, tracking my journey. I really appreciate everybody's support. Appreciate the comments and just the overall engagement I get, man, from here periodically, man, from people that watch my channel or whatever, man. So I really appreciate that, man. Today I start my three vlog my three vlog critique of my experience with Prime, man. And it's gonna be done in a sense that I'm just gonna really be talking through some of the things that how I started, where I'm at, what it looks like, how trucking has overall been a hit or miss, man, as far as my career choice. I'll just tell you this, man. In this series, I'm driving in my truck, pretty much just talking through my start to finish. I ain't gonna say finish, but from start to up until this point of where I'm at. So depending on what video you watching, man, what vlog you watching, you'll probably have to watch them in order, because I'll talk about the hiring process, I'll talk about the PSD process, I'll talk about the TNT process, I'll talk about the overall experience of how I'm being treated at Prime, I'll talk about fleet managers, I'll talk about trainers a little bit, I'll talk about money a little bit. I won't get into too much depth as far as money, but I also talk about some of the experiences that I'm having being a solo owner operator at Prime. I talk about my experience with upgrading, the upgrade process. I talk just through some of the things that as far as Prime Inc. is concerned, man. So y'all stay tuned, man, and I want y'all to continue to support me, man. This video is not in no way politically correct, right? Because my opinion may not be somebody else's opinion of how the Prime process from start to finish has affected them in their trucking journey. So as far as my opinion, this is what I see, and this is how I feel about my start up until this point, being with Prime Inc. And y'all stay tuned, man. I'm gonna talk through some good stuff, man. This is series 2. So stay tuned, man. Let me know. Send me some comments if you like. If you don't like, let me know what you agree with, what you don't agree with. What works for me might not work for you. So what works for you might not work for me, man. So, but yeah, man, y'all stay tuned, man. Let me know how you feel. Comment. Let me know some of your experiences. This video is not to compare your experience with my experience. Other than that, man, welcome to part 2. Y'all stay tuned. The next thing I want to talk about is my upgrade process. My upgrade process was a little different than most people's. When people are over the road, when the students are over the road, they have some decisions to make. There's 3 decisions they can make. They're going to go company, if they're going to go lease purchase, or they're going to do just like I did right out the gate and go to Pedigree and buy a truck. You know, I skipped the company process and I skipped the leasing process and went straight to owner operate. I went and dropped the bag on my truck because this is going to be my livelihood from here on out. And my way of thinking about that is I had already budgeted that in, before I even decided what trucking company I was going to come to. I had already decided that I was going to own a truck. My situation may be a lot different than a lot of people's, but I had the bread to be able to just buy a truck, and I wanted to take the cheapest route into buying a good, dependable truck and make that truck my own. And that's what I've done with coming out of the TNT training. I've never leased a truck or driven a prime company truck. The only prime trucks I've driven has been in training. So my experience a little bit different than everybody's. I'll tell you about my experience with that. Pedigree is a really good company to purchase a truck from. You know, I weighed my options, man, and I did get with leasing, and I had selected some different trucks that I was going to try to bring on to Prime. And Prime was going to allow me to bring my truck on, even though I bought that truck outside of Prime. I had 2 options of trucks that they approved. And the trucks that they approved have the same bells and whistles that all Prime trucks have. So if you try to bring a truck on to Prime, you got to be a certain year. It got to have adaptive cruise control. They got to have like lane departure stuff, and it just has to have some of the extra safety things that Prime's truck have. I kind of got a really good deal, and I'm glad it worked out the way it did. And I didn't bring a truck on with Prime, and I got a truck from Prime because buying a truck from Pedigree, I have the history from the day the truck started to run for Prime up until this point, as far as the warranties, as far as the mechanical issues or anything. I have a printout of what was, if there was anything wrong with the truck before I bought it. A lot of times when you buy trucks from these dealerships or from these little mom and pop places that have trucks, you don't get all of the printouts of everything that they have made fixed on a truck or anything like that. That's the good thing about Prime. Prime takes care of the equipment to the T, man. Even to this day, even though I bought this truck from Prime, Prime still tracks my truck's progress each week, each month. Tells me what needs to be worked on, tells me when I have a campaign or a warranty on something that needs to be fixed, that I need to get it to Peterbilt. It tracks my engine. It tracks pretty much everything. They still have my truck locked into their system to where, if a fuse blow out on my truck, they can tell me what fuse it is from Prime, from Springfield. If there's an issue with the coolant or anything, I can call Road Assist, and Road Assist will have my truck in their system, and it'll give them some type of, idea of what I need to do to get my truck fixed. Buying the truck from Pedigree, I'm gonna give that a A+++. Very smooth process, man. If you ever go to Pedigree to buy a truck, the go see JR, man. And I got a video, and you can go back and look, man. I got a video on where I talked about buying my truck through Prime. So I don't want to get in all of the specifics, but check that video out, man. You'll see how that process went. Very smooth, man. Very, very smooth. So that's an A plus. A plus for that. On getting my equipment. And my whole point of buying my equipment right out the gate, because I wanted to bypass all of the extra, trying to work my way towards a truck and trying to make payments and all of that. I didn't want to do none of that. I wanted to buy my truck, invest in myself, invest in my business right out the gate, and then work back to put that money back to where I took it from for the first year, year and a half, maybe 2 years. And then everything after that was all bottom line, all profit. You know, I still think from a P&L, profit and loss type situation, a statement. So each year that I run my business, I'm going to look at it from a profit and loss point of view. Right now, I'm paying back myself for investing in this truck, you know. And then after that, everything's going to be bottom line. Whatever I make, if I make $2,000 in 1 week and I make $4,500 the next week, that's all going to be profit towards myself in the business. So that's how I'm looking at it, man, this first year while I'm running. So, you know, I hear a lot of people complain about they ain't making no money and this and that. And, you know, I work for the biggest retail company in the world. And, on average, I was making around 3,600 every 2 weeks. The way I look at it, if I make 4,200 every 2 weeks, I'm still doing better than what I was doing when I was working for Walmart. So, you know, that's just the way I'm looking at it. That's how I got my business model based around. That's what I know. That's what I've done for the last 20 some years. So, as of right now, I can't really say that buying the truck from Prime is a bad idea if you got the money to invest in it. Now, I do know from what I hear coming out of TNT training, some people lease, some people go company, man. That's going to be your situational preference. You know, some people say don't lease. Some people say go company. Some people say lease and don't go company. I don't have no experience in either one of those. So if people ask me about what I would have done if I wouldn't have bought this truck, I probably would have went to go lease. I wouldn't have just been a company driver. Now the company drivers do have certain perks, that lease operators don't have, but lease operators have certain perks that company drivers don't have. So one of the perks is company drivers have outstanding health insurance and different things like that. One of the outstanding things that lease operators have, they have the option to pick and choose and go home when they want. Company drivers can. So, I mean, it's just different things and whatever fits your preference and whatever your situation is. So, you know, but overall, the upgrade process for me, it was an A. There's no need for me to even complain about that. It worked out well. And then on the top of all of that, and what is the deciding factor of me taking that route, if anything ever happens while I'm here at Prime and I have to leave Prime or Prime decides to let me go and terminate my contract, I'll still have my money maker, well, meaning my truck that I could take with me and go wherever I need to go in order to continue my business. So that was one thing. I didn't want to be held hostage. And also I didn't want to be held hostage as far as feeling like I'm obligated to make a truck payment and I'm obligated to stay in this contract if things are not going as well as I expected. I have a wide range of options that I can do by doing that as I'm gaining my experience with this. So overall, the upgrade process for me, which is different than a lot of people, has been A plus plus plus. The next thing I'd probably say that is very, very mindful of what I do and how I do it and why I say personally that this whole experience with Prime is pretty good. I enjoy the facilities that they have for us. Um, what the all of the terminals are different, but experiencing Springfield through the training process, even going back to park and do certain things at the terminal, get work done on the truck. That experience has been very A plus as well, man. Uh, the only downside to going to the terminal, I think sometimes you could get stuck there, is what I hear. I got a really good fleet manager. Like if I'm telling them I'm ready to roll, I ain't gotta wait days and days and days and days to get out of that terminal. For the most part, man, if I say I'm ready to go, uh, my fleet manager take care of business and get me out of there so we both can make some money. And I agree that, going to the terminal is not always in everybody's best interest, because a lot of times you do get stuck, but I've not had a bad experience by going to the terminal. The amount of time that I've stayed at a terminal, has mainly been because of my decision to stay there and not be ready to go. I was caught in a snowstorm. I was getting some work done on the truck and got caught in a snowstorm that made me stay an additional day or two. But that was cool because it was so bad with the snow. I would rather be at the terminal than parked on the side of the road or at a truck stop or a rest area. So that all worked out pretty well for me too. So wasn't complaining about that at all. So I'll say that overall, the terminal has been very, 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 very good as far as when it comes to how Prime take care of us as, uh, associates and contractors or whatever. The next thing I want to talk about, I'll say, as far as my experience with Prime, um, the good thing about Prime, uh, I enjoy going, where I want to go, right? Uh, Being that I'm an owner operator, I can make decisions on what part of the country I want to run in. I'm not a regional. I'm not assigned to any regional area or location of the country. I hear that you have to be put on a list to be a part of a regional, for example, southeast regional, southwest regional, midwest regional, or something like that. I'm not sure all of the regions that Prom has. I'm not really trying to look into being regional, right? Like I'll travel anywhere, everywhere if the money right, with the exception of New York, California. I stay out of those two areas. I don't like going nothing up the East Coast by New York, and I don't like going to California. Everywhere else, I'm pretty good to go. You know, everywhere else, I'm pretty good to go. I go. I try to stay out of places that, you know, that may have some cons about going to. You know, but those two areas I don't like to travel in. I like to travel everywhere else, with the exception of those. But the reason I'm saying that is because Prime gives lease operators and owner operators the choice to make that decision on where you want to go. And the ability to turn down loads and say, no, I don't want to go here, or no, I don't want that load because this load is not making enough money. Man, that's outstanding. That's outstanding. I give that process an A plus. You can really capitalize on managing your business if you have that say so, right? As far as a company driver, they get assigned a load and they got to go to that shipper and that receiver. They can't say no, but lease operators and owner operators have the ability to do so. So, you know, So I give that process an A plus. The next thing I want to touch on as far as money, as far as settlements, um, for me, personally, I can't complain about what I'm making with Prime each week. You know, there are some people that have been out here trucking longer than I have. So there's some people that's gonna say, "Oh, 2,200 a week is not good if you're going 1,000 miles or going 1,500 miles. That ain't good money, or this or that, and this and that." You know, that's gonna be your choice on how you want to make those decisions. You know, I ran into a few situations, man, recently where I just felt that the amount of money to drive in a certain amount of miles just was not worth it. And I've turned down some loads. But the good part about that is that I have that option to do so. Right. So that's what I think is the A plus about Prime. When you come out here and you become a truck driver, and if you're leasing or you own your truck and you have to make critical decisions that affect your business, you want to have that option. You know, you want to be able to do so and have that option. So that's one of the things that I enjoy about Prime. That's one of the things I enjoy about Prime. I'll just tell you, for me, uh, being able to make that decision, A plus, man, A plus. I can't complain about it, right? Can't complain about it. You know, I'm not gonna get into all of what I make every day and what I make every week and this and that. It varies. Like I say, I'm not trying to get rich off of driving one truck. I'm trying to build something and have something established for the long term. So my short-term goal is to pay off the money. I'm not going to say pay off, but pay myself back the money I spent on the truck. And then my long-term goal is to own multiple trucks, right? So as of right now, I'm in the baby steps of doing that, right? Some people will be like, well, you're not an owner operator. You don't have your own authority. You're running under Prime, this and that. I look at things a little bit different. If I own my truck, I'm an owner. There's no way of taking me out of owner category if I own my truck. And if I operate my truck, that don't take me out of no category of being an owner operator. Now, there's different types of owner operators. Some owner operators run under their own authority, get their loads from a load board, you know, pay for all of their insurance, pay for all of their expenses, don't have discounts on fuel, don't have discounts on other little perks that a company may offer. With Prime, man, you have those things as an owner operator. You have a tire fund where you could choose to opt into, and they take out a little bit money of each week out of your settlement to put away in case you have a tire needing to replace. They have an emergency fund you can take out of each settlement each week that, if something come up, you'll have some money put away to where you can use that money for whatever you may need, uh, for anything, you know? So for those things right there and that type of, option to have that, I consider myself still an owner operator. Um, yeah, I'm not calling a broker. Yeah, I'm not on no load board, but that's what Prime, Driveline and my fleet manager helps me with. That's what I'm in partner with them. That's their part of our partnership, right? Instead of me having to talk to multiple brokers and have different people and different avenues to try to hunt down loads, I deal with the same people and the process never changes. Once I drop off this load, I'm going to get offered a proposal to take another load. And I have that option to say, no, I don't want that load. Let's look for something else. My fleet manager might come back and be like, hey, this is going to be the best you're going to get out this area, man. Jump on it. Or he might be, okay, well, I understand, man. We'll look for something better. You know, it feels really good to have that relationship with a fleet manager, somebody that you can build a rapport with versus you dealing with people that you don't know, dealing with a load board that, you know, a lot of the loads can cancel on you in the middle. You halfway there and they'll cancel on you. You know, with Prime, if something like that happen, they pay you for your miles. You know, so for me, that might be something I do in the future. But as a new owner operator, I enjoy having that helping hand with keeping me running. People can say what they want about if an owner operator, you're not an owner operator at Prime. Yeah, I have less stress than you may have being an owner operator with your own authority. Yeah, my truck is still under warranty and insured. Yeah, I still get good loads and I run decent amount of miles and I get like 72%. I think it's 72%, 75% of each load. I got to go back and look at my contract. I kind of forgot that one, but I know it's that Prime gets like 28% and I get 72% of each load, right? And then they propose a load and it's up to me to take it or not. I can say, no, I don't want to drive 500 miles for $1,300. You know, but that would be a good little old load. But I can say no to that. The chances of me turning that load down, I can end up getting a load for 700 miles, paying $800. So you have those type of options, man. And I think that's what's really good with Prime. So I'm going to give it an A on that process, man. For lease operators and owner operators, you got to be business minded. You got to be able to understand, what you're getting into. You got to read the small print. If you become a lease person or if you purchase a truck with Prime, you got to read the small print, you know, even the company driver, you need to read the fine print in your contract and in your, application employment. You need to know what you're getting yourself into. I think a lot of times, man, people jump into this and don't understand how to run a business. So that's going to be trial and error on them. So overall, my experience with gaining and getting loads and running and keeping running, I'd say it's been an A for me. I've had some down, some days that I've had to sit. But the longest I ever sit, I think it was a self-inflicted wound because I turned down 3 loads at one time. 3 loads back to back to back. The next thing I want to talk about, man, is the option to train. You could be a solo driver, you can team, or you can be a trainer. And, you know, I'm not a solo driver. I mean, I'm not a trainer. I'm not a team driver. I'm a solo driver, solo owner operator, but I have those options to be able to become a trainer if I want to. Me, I prefer not to. I don't want to train. I enjoy being on my truck by myself. I enjoy, that, I enjoy being solo. Now, if you do become a trainer with Prime, I've heard different things about that. I've heard that some people say it's not worth it. Some people say it is worth it. I can refer to my trainer, TNT trainer. He showed me a few of his settlements and his truck was grossing some really good money and his paychecks was really good each week. There's a downside that I think he told me about, like if the truck break down, you still got to pay the student. I think that's one of the deterrents for most people training is because they say that, the trainer has to pay the student. I think if Prime did something different around that space, I think you would have more people willing to train. Uh, Even though they keep your truck moving, keep your truck running, still making good money, you still have to deal with the person being on your truck with you. You know, and some people say that, that's a plus. Some people say that's a minus. Some people say that's a pro. Some people say that's a con. But having the ability to become a team driver, putting somebody on the truck with me if I want to, and we run this thing together, that's an option for me at Prime. Being a trainer at Prime is an option. The other thing that I think that is an A plus for Prime, Prime has different divisions, man. They have reefer, they have tanker, they have flatbed, they have hopper, and then they have refrigerator, right? They have reefer, they have hopper, they have tanker, they have flatbed, right? Uh, you know, uh, I personally think that's a good look, man, because if you get burned out of doing reefer, you can transfer over to the flatbed division and learn flatbed. You can transfer over to the tanker division and learn how to be a tanker truck driver. So those are some of the perks that I think is amazing with Prime, that you have those options. That's a one-stop shop. I am interested in doing another type of trucking. I want to eventually look into trucking using tanker and or hopper. I don't want to do flatbed. I'm not a flatbed type of person. I'm not trying to be tarping everything. Shout out to all of the people that flatbed, all of the people that flatbed at Prime or outside of Prime. Y'all special, you know. Hats off to y'all. You got to keep in mind, I'm a retired person. So I'm not trying to do too much more harder than just driving to point A to point B, bagging into a dock. I'm not trying to tarp. I'm not trying to do all of that in the elements, the seasonal changes, and I'm not trying to do none of that. So shout out to all my flatbed people out there, you know. But for me, man, I'm comfortable where I'm at right now. I don't have an issue doing a reefer. I enjoy a reefer right now. If I ever get bored with reefer, I think I'm gonna try to transfer into uh tanker. And that's an option. I enjoy having that option. So I give Prime A for having that option available for all of the drivers at Prime, you know? Uh the next thing I would probably talk about, man, is there some is there some cons with Prime? You probably talking about, everything's an A, everything's an A. This is from my opinion, man. This is how I see it coming from the outside looking in, right? I'll tell you the cons that I have about Prime. I do have some cons. One of the cons is I think that, for the most part, uh, when it comes to giving, drivers the ability to uh, uh, drop loads in after Wednesday, right? Like they give us a window. I think our pay period is like Wednesday to next Wednesday, Thursday to Wednesday. And sometimes you might get a load. You might get a load. You might have had two loads for the week. And, the first load, it was Sunday. You delivered it on a Tuesday. And then you got another load on that Tuesday, but it don't deliver until Friday. And so you only getting paid that week for that one load that you delivered. I wish they would find a way to be able to make sure if you got two loads in a week, you're getting paid for two loads in a week. And I'm just using two loads as an example because sometimes you get three loads, sometimes you get four loads a week. It just depends on what kind of load you get as an owner operator or a lease driver. I'm not sure what company, how they iron them out, and I'm not sure about lease drivers. But, some days, some weeks, I prefer getting a load on a Sunday that delivers on getting a load on a Friday and delivers on a Sunday, and then getting a load on a Sunday that delivers before Wednesday's cutoff. And those loads are paying really good rates, like $2.50 a mile. I'll drive one load for 3 days. I stay on a load for 3 days. If it's paying 3,500 or higher, and then I can get another load in there that might be paying 1,500 for 2 more days. I mean, I do 2 loads a week at that rate every week. So, something like that is cool for me. I'd rather do that than having the hassle of dropping and hooking, sitting and waiting. Here recently, I have heard that people have been waiting a lot at shippers, and there's a lot of downtime and stuff like that. What I do, man, and this has worked out for me this last week or two. Soon as I get a load, man, I send my fleet manager a message and be like, "Hey, today Wednesday, man. Can we find something that's gonna keep me running up until the weekend? Or today's Friday. Can I make sure I get a load that's gonna run me all the way through the weekend? And I get a load that deliver on a Tuesday. I pick it up on a Saturday and it'll deliver on a Tuesday. I'm not sitting. I'm not sitting. So, it's just certain ways that you can manage that piece of it. And I like the ability to have that rapport with a fleet manager that'll help you be able to go through that process. The con in all of that, depending on what location you are in. Some rates are higher than other rates. Some states don't have a lot of freight coming out, aka Florida. So you might get a $1.10 a mile coming out of Florida, but yeah, it's gonna keep you running through the weekend, but you ain't gonna make no more than $800, for a load you're gonna be sitting on for 3 days. So it's just something that you gotta think about. That's just food for thought. You gotta have to understand that piece of it and that process of it. Uh, Another con that I would say about Prime, one of the cons, I think one of the biggest cons is that, you have, cameras facing at you, but they enforcing that you can't have a camera on your head facing the road. I think that's a con. I think uh, a lot of people are getting creative and tapping into creativity with social media and stuff like that. And I think that, having the ability to be able to, uh, track your journey and for safety reasons for your business should be equivalent to what Prime does to protect this business. If they have a camera on you to protect your business, I don't see why there's any reason you can't have a camera on your head watching where you looking at and what you're doing, to protect your business. Um, that's a con to me. I think that is, kind of like, it kind of don't make sense to me. If this camera that's looking at me right now while I'm driving is tracking my head and where I'm looking at, and why I can't have a camera that sees it from my point of view on top of my head as well. So that's a con for Prime. A lot of people say the camera system is a con. It's a deterrent for them coming to Prime because they don't want to have a camera system on them or in their truck protecting invading their privacy. Overall, man, I say the camera is not a bad thing. I get it. I understand why Prime has it. It doesn't bother me much. I think it's been maybe 2 weeks since my camera even said anything to me. I think maybe about 2 weeks since it said something to me. I can't remember the last thing it said to me. Oh, a car jumped in front of me and it told me to maintain my traveling distance or something. It says, I don't even remember what it say because it don't mess with me too much. But that piece of it, I would say, is a con. It's not an invading privacy issue for me though at all, because if I need privacy, I can cover the camera to where it can't see what I'm doing behind my curtain. So that's not an issue for me as far as invading the privacy. And another thing I look at, man, I don't care what place of business you go to. I don't care what uh, toll booth you go through in your car or in your truck. There's a camera that's going to snap a picture of your face and your vehicle when you're going through a toll. If you walk into a grocery store, there's a camera that's going to catch a picture, cap a video of you walking into a facility. If you're sitting at uh, 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 a pool, a public pool, there's camera systems. If you're at a public park, there's camera systems. If you're at the mall, there's camera systems. If you're walking in front of a convenience store, there's a camera system. If you're walking inside a store, there's a camera system. That's just the way of life now. Shit, you could be standing in line at a grocery store and somebody has their camera out filming. You know, if you're in a club, there's a camera system. I don't care where you go, there's a camera system. What place of business you work at, if you're working at a legitimate place of business, it's gonna have a camera system. You know, this camera system ain't never seen me in my drawers. So it ain't never seen me naked. It ain't never seen me do anything behind once I got the curtains closed. So I don't stress over that. So that ain't something I'm gonna stress over. Till next time, Ace Deuces.